Travis Best, born July 12, 1972. Kobe Bryant is not the only guy that knows what it feels like to score 81 points in a game. Unlike Kobe, this guy was a college basketball star, and down the long list of point guards that played at point guard U number 2, Georgia Tech, salute to Arizona. He's the son of a legend in my book, Leo Best, who taught his young son the game and knew from 10 years old that his boy was special. Growing up where his father described as a three-pointer away from the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame in Springfield, Massachusetts, Travis led his high school team to back-to-back state championships, went on to star in one of the toughest conferences in college being the ACC, and was a first-round NBA draft pick and played 10 seasons in the league. As a lefty, I remember emulating his shooting form growing up, and besides his height, wanted to be exactly like him, even down to what we call the best fade. Don't get me wrong, Travis is and was a special person in my eyes, so this isn't a shot at him or his career. These are just a few reasons I think he could have been better than he was. Let's get into it. It's your boy JC, Stunted Growth. Let's get it, man. I want to ask you guys to please like this video as it helps YouTube promote it more, leading to me releasing more of the features you asked for and more giveaways and content from the channel. If you don't mind, also subscribe by hitting the red button below, as that helps motivate me to put in the time and research to bring you the best efforts. Thank you, I appreciate you guys. Okay, let's get back to it. Stunt number 1, at that size. Travis Best is listed at 5'11", but is probably closer to 5'9" or 5'10", and at that size, there's only so much you can do in a league of giants, especially when you're not the fastest or most athletic leaper. Allen Iverson is a good example of this, where Allen possessed exceptional leaping ability, long arms, along with elite quickness and speed. Iverson was also one of the best scorers ever to touch a basketball. At his height and weight, there wasn't much AI lacked, especially on the offensive end. Travis attended Springfield Central High, where his father pushed him to be a star. He stated that the last time he celebrated his birthday at home with his family was 8 years old. He's always been on the road and at different camps and tournaments across the nation trying to better his skills and gain much needed exposure. His high school career culminated with a 69-4 record, an award presented to the top player in Weston, Mass, 25-0 as a senior, another state championship, and McDonald's All-American. Then there's the game against Putnam in 1991, where he scored a state record 81 points, which still stands to this day. At that size, Travis maxed out his ability and took his talents as far as they could as a high school superstar, then took those abilities on to Georgia Tech over UConn and UVA for the 91-92 season, where he was an outstanding freshman guard that averaged 12.3 points a game, 5.7 assists, shot 38% from 3, and took his team to the regional semifinals of the NCAA tournament as the 7th seed. He was a great free throw shooter over his career and also one of the program's best assist to turnover ratio point guards. He followed his freshman season, increasing his scoring and steals output each season, and averaged over 21 points per game as a senior. He was All-ACC 3 times and won the conference championship over North Carolina in 1993. At that size, there's always going to be a non-guarantee factor, with guys coming behind you that are taller, so now you're a defensive liability, a rebounding nightmare, and may find it hard to get your shot off against bigger, more athletic guards at the 1 and 2. At that size, you're limited to one position, whereas other point guards are able to play more positions, making you expendable. Stunt number 2, mentality. Another stunt in Travis's growth was his scorer's mentality. There's nothing wrong with having a score-first mentality, but in some cases, in some situations, it caps your growth off, and in my opinion, that's the mentality that capped off Travis's career. Like mentioned earlier, only being able to play the point in his era and not one that focused on distribution further capped his growth off as an NBA player, especially when you have Mark Jackson in front of you, who's known for his pass-first ability and half-court run the offense type of game. On the smaller end of the point guard size chart, you have to be able to do more than just score the basketball. And if that's your only real attribute, you have to be able to do that well enough that it shades the attributes you don't have or are special in. Allen Iverson, special scorer and charisma that captivated his audience. Isaiah Thomas, scorer and passer that led the league in assists in the 1984-85 season at 13.9 assists a game. The other Isaiah Thomas, who was a great scorer for the 3 years he had in Boston. Nate Robinson, pretty good scorer, charisma, and outstanding leaper that won the slam dunk contest 3 times and back-to-back in 2009 and 2010. Bess, who was taken with the 23rd pick in the 1995 draft by the Indiana Pacers, had his best scoring season of 11 points per game in the 2000-2001 season, and his best assist season that same year. Playing behind Mark Jackson until he was traded to New York did have something to do with both of those, but the rest of his career in Indy, Chicago, Miami, Dallas, and New Jersey were all worse production years than that season. Stunt number 3, there was no real stunt number 3. Travis Bess had no real third stunt. He did deal with some injuries late in his career, but for the most part, they didn't play a huge role in the career he produced. Travis is a guy I have tons of respect for as a player, especially for his time in college and early in his Indiana career. He came along in a time when I began playing the sport, and I loved watching him in his second year go up against a rookie Allen Iverson. I loved the battle of former Georgia Tech point guards he'd have with Stephon Marbury, and him being a lefty like myself, I rooted for him in most those matchups. He's also a very nice guy that respected anyone that came in contact with him or showed him love in any way. By all accounts, he was a very approachable person that was happy to take a picture with a fan or sign a few autographs here and there. In my eyes, he maxed out his abilities and continued to do great things off the court as well with his basketball camps and his Travis Bess Foundation that serves the youth in his hometown and teaches them to utilize the resources provided by basketball to further themselves in life and in return give back to their communities. These types of foundations are super important to our young people and continues the lineage of great people in the community. Bess was an outstanding amateur player and a solid pro that finished his career in Europe and is respected across the league and as an alumni of his former school. Salute to him. I wish him all the best. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth, and I'm out.